Food Court, the movie podcast where Sean
and John
and Josh watch shit, talk shit, and most importantly, eat shit. We are the law. We've got super special secret guest, Josh Lewis, with us. He is alive and well. Unfortunately, our good friend Rob Haynes, who was supposed to be on the show, is still alive and well, but he's sick, and he didn't want to talk about the old guard with us. He said that he hated it and that he hates us personally and physically. He hates the way we look, so he doesn't want to look at our face or body. But we do have the late great Josh Lewis with us to talk about the old guard. How are you, sir?
I'll be goddamn if I ain't doing fine.
Really?
Yeah, sure.
Tell me more.
Well, I mean, I watched this movie within 30 minutes of us doing this.
Oh, yeah.
That's how good I'm doing. I got that much downtime that you can sporadically say, hey, will you watch it's right at 2 hours.
It's like 2:06
movie. And I said, let me see if I can pencil this in. And then I just looked at my agenda planner thing and just went, whew, oh boy. And then here I am after watching that whole movie. Watched every bit of it.
You opened it up and like a fly flew out of it. And you're like, well, I guess I got time.
Just a skeleton hand.
You blew the dust off of it. And you're like, well, I guess I got plenty of time to get this podcast going. We watched The Old Guard. Have I mentioned that yet? I don't even remember. We watched The Old Guard. Did I mention that, Josh?
I got it.
Okay, well, as
I'm
long
paying
as you
attention,
know.
though. I don't know if your fucking idiot fans are, but I'm definitely paying attention.
Honestly, our fans are not idiots. They're geniuses. For listening to this podcast, they would have to be geniuses because it's so great and we have such a great time. The first thing we always do on this show is we force our guest, our untimely guest, Josh Lewis, to... Would you just tell us the whole plot for us? Would you just give us the entire plot of this movie, which shouldn't take long?
You mean take it from the top and work my way down to the bottom?
I mean, I guess so. That's probably the easiest way to do it. But if you want to start in the middle and go back to the beginning.
I'm a Tarantino Pulp Fiction this fucker. So it just confuses you the first 3 times you watch it.
Yeah.
The Old Guard, 2020. A group of elite Navy SEAL Highlanders are out on the prowl, and they do a lot of killing, but they do it for the right reasons, so they say.
Yes.
And then one day, a CIA agent that you don't know is led by Big Pharma comes in and goes, hey, I'm going to help you all out. Then they go into a basement and get shot all to hell. Then you find out they're even more Highlanderish, that they quit, they heal even quicker, and there's no quickening, which is weird for a Highlander movie. This is obviously a Highlander movie. It
is in the Highlander cinematic universe.
Yeah, because you find out all these Highlanders have been alive for like 1,000 years, and there's not a whole lot of them, and they're all going to eventually die until there's probably only one left, right?
I've heard there can be only one. That's just what I heard.
Yeah, we'll find out. There's obviously going to be sequels because that's how the movie is.
Clearly going to be sequels.
Then a Marine lady, she finds out she's a Highlander. They go get her, and she's very reluctant. Then there is no training or anything like that, or a montage like the original Highlander. There is no Scottish people that say they're from Spain like the original Highlander. Yeah. And then they say, hey, we're going to go do some shit. And then 2 of them get caught, and then they get in trouble. And then the rest of them go get them real easy without even thinking about it. And then there's an ending with somebody was put in an Iron Maiden. Yeah, that's the whole movie. I believe so.
That's most of it. Yeah. I mean, I think after that they do more getting people out and stuff. But wait, I don't know. I don't really know what happened in this movie, but I did love it. I had a great time. No, I didn't love it, but it was fine. It was completely fine. While we're talking about what an amazing movie this was, or maybe not that great, do you want to tell us about your beef lamb year of the picture? What was your favorite part of this piece of cinema, Josh?
Well, there was a whole battalion of female Marines. I'm pretty sure it's a battalion, maybe just a squad, maybe into a company. The problem with them is that their friend gets her throat cut, and they are pretty sure that she dies.
Yeah,
and then when she lives, everybody gets real mad at her.
Yes. That's your favorite part?
I think so. Because the fighting choreography is pretty cool. That fight in like the church is pretty cool.
Yeah.
One of the final boss battles is pretty cool. In the hallway, the glass hallway is pretty cool. But all that stuff, you can find that in other movies. That's fine. But you don't get to see every day some elite fighting force women.
No.
Say, hey, one of her own is dead, and everybody gets sad, and then they go, but she's alive, and everybody goes, that bitch. Like they shun her.
It's extremely strange because, okay, I too noticed this. It was not my favorite part, but I do want to talk about it because I wrote it down in my notes. It's strange to have that reaction because, okay, I would think if a friend of mine, especially in like a military situation where your friendships must be super powerful because you are looking out for each other and you're just so desperate to keep them alive, not only because you like them, but also because it will keep you alive. There is like some powerful connection. They're like, we're all living in the same place. We're all fighting the same war. We have to be one. I just can't imagine if my friend died and then they turned out okay, I would be like, how dare you? I'm just so mad. I would be confused. I would definitely be like, hey, Niall, this is gonna sound, I know that you seem fine, but do you feel okay? Because I saw you die. Your heart stopped pumping. I saw gallons of your blood on the floor. Are you okay? Can we talk about how you feel? Because I would assume that you are feeling weird right now. Yeah, but no one says that. They just sneer at her. They go, "Urgh."
Not one person walked up and was like, are you into like witchcraft or is this a prank? Yeah. Was this like a Tom Savini type fucking apparatus on your neck whenever that dude cut it?
That'd be an amazing prank.
Oh, you God, it would be so good. Like 3 days later, just show back up. What's up, y'all?
Hey, I'm fine. What I did is I got like 17 women from this Afghani village, and I got one man who's playing some kind of drug runner. I don't quite know what he does. And I got him to pretend to slash my throat, and then I pretended to die, and now I'm back. Hey.
Here's the important thing, guys. Whenever I shot that man, he is dead. He was basically just defending himself. The joke was I was going to kill a man in front of you guys just to see what happened. He ended up slashing my throat. Now I'm a Highlander.
Maybe it was a double whammy where she was like, I got this great idea for like a surprise for the ladies back at camp, but also I'll get to kill this guy that we're supposed to kill anyway. So I don't know how she would make that work. Okay, let me tell you about my B flame Euro of this picture. Teamwork murder stuff. They do it a few times. They do it in that first part where they're trying to kill the guy in Afghanistan. They're doing the tap on the shoulder, and they do like hand stuff, and they do the thing where they put the gun down when they're walking past someone that looks like military shit. I would assume that they really do that because you don't want to shoot someone you're with. And they do it later when they're in the big group with immortals and Niall, the new immortal. They're like going through, what is it, Merrick. They're in Merrick's lab / huge office building, and they're going around. They're doing around corners, tapping each other on the shoulder. I like all of that shit. I liked other stuff.
A really good military advisor or something on this for that. Yes. Yeah, that was very subtle, but yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah, I liked all of that shit. I liked in the same way that I think it's a bad idea to compare this to John Wick movies just from a quality standpoint, because you'll go, oh, this is not a John Wick movie. But they do have some of that. I think it's admirable that they are killers, and many of them have been killers for a million years. So they are hyper accurate killers. Like the people they're fighting against are shooting at them, and they're not really getting hit. And then they go around the corner, they shoot them in the head, and then they're done. I like that sort of, we have been training since guns existed. We're so good at guns. We've had guns for like 140 years. So we are really good at guns. And if I want to shoot someone who's 20 feet away, I can easily shoot them in the head and instantly kill them. And I like that.
That was pretty cool. They also carried swords with themselves.
Yes.
Because before I knew what the movie was about, I was like, why do these dummies have swords and assault rifles? It seems like one you don't bring to a certain fight.
Yeah, you don't bring a sword to an AR-15 fight.
Yeah, the old saying.
But they do. It can be useful in close combat. I mean, you run out of bullets, you're going to need that sword. And it's also a nice short sword, so you can do some really close combat stuff, cut some people to shit. An axe, though, is a little much.
Especially a circular axe.
Yeah, you're just showing off Andromache of Scythia. We can't just talk about the stuff we loved about this film. We must talk about the low man of the picture. What was your least favorite part of this whole film?
Can I get a few?
Yes. Oh, yes. Drop a bunch on us.
Okay. I hated the music. I almost hated every song that came through because it was so fucking ill-fitting. Did you notice that? That it was just like somebody just went, this is on my Spotify. And they just put it in. Like it didn't even fit the scene. Like there was like finally like one scene towards the end whenever they could play something kind of low, just kind of low key. And instead they played something fast where I was like, who did this? Why did they do this?
Yeah, it's a lot of, I don't know if the modern sounding pop music was specifically written for the movie or if this was already pre-existing modern sounding pop music, but it did seem like they were just kind of, let's drop something in that'll make people who are 15 feel like this movie is for them. They'll like this, even if it doesn't really get anybody hyped up for this scene where people are getting brutally murdered. But let's put some 808, trap beats on there and see how they feel.
Yeah, but all of them were about love and stuff. That's what got me. It was just like, like big bass, like, very much trap sounding.
Yeah.
And then it would all of a sudden turn into like electronica.
Yeah.
And if that's like a new modern thing, that's fine. I'm dumb. I'm out of the fucking loop. I'm cool with that. But also whenever something like moves a fucking movie. And also, how can you have a whole Highlander movie without a single fucking Queen song?
Ooh.
It's a whole Highlander movie, not a single Queen song.
Yeah. I mean, they should have at least at the very end used Who Wants to Live Forever or something.
Anything. Here's another one.
Okay.
Towards the beginning, this is an old trope in a lot of these action movies.
Yes.
So there's an open air market in a foreign country.
Sure.
Where nobody is white.
Yeah.
And then white people, very tall white people, walk straight through it and nobody even pays them attention. Just to have like some sort of covert dinner or luncheon.
Yes.
And nobody ever notices that in every fucking movie. And this one's the exact same. I can keep going. You ready?
No, wait. Let me comment on this last one. It's also weird that like part of their entire deal is not getting seen. Like they don't want to get photographed because the surveillance state makes that very hard for them, but they don't want to get photographed because I don't quite know why. I mean, how likely is it that someone will see a picture from 400 years ago? Well, there aren't pictures, but a drawing from 400 years ago, and they'll go, wait a minute. I think that's the same lady I saw in the open air market in Afghanistan the other day. I gotta look into this and then figure it out somehow. I don't get it, but go ahead.
Yeah, this looks like my friend from World War II, and you haven't aged a bit. Or this looks like my friend from a cave painting. Yeah, who cares? People have lineages. Like I'm sure there's somebody in everybody's family that they can look back on and go, "Oh goddamn, that looks just like me." You know, that's just the way DNA works. I guess I don't know.
Every one of Charlize Theron's kids is going to be hot as hell. Every one of her parents are probably super duper hot. It's probably like 3 generations back when they were kind of weird teeth and kind of ugly, but they've found the beautiful people. They made more beautiful people, and then they found even more beautiful people, and then they made Charlize, and it went great. I'm so proud of them. They've
done really well considering she's 75 years old, I think, right?
I know. She looks like she's 14 years old. How? She's just, her skin is so beautiful.
It is beautiful. I will admit. Like, even while watching this, I was like, wasn't she in Devil's Advocate in the 90s?
Yes.
Whenever I was a teenager. Now I'm breaching, like I'm hardcore breaching middle-aged man.
Yeah.
And she still looks so hot.
Yeah.
But just this movie, you don't see any bush. Whatever. That's another problem.
That's what your low main is, no bush.
Yeah. Well, here's another thing. Everybody in this movie is so quick to just believe something.
Yes.
So like whenever, so the one part whenever they're storming into Big Pharma,
yeah,
and they're going to save their buddies, and she's like, I don't like killing people. The new Marine girl, she's like, I don't like killing people. And they're like,
Niall.
Okay, well you don't have to go. And she's like, all right. And she drives half a mile down the road and goes, you know what? I feel like there might be a double cross. I better go back and save everybody. And I was like, what the fuck? I would have just kept driving. I would have never stopped. I was like, that's stupid.
Well, she's a good person and you are not. Sorry.
I keep telling them that. I don't know if they're ever going to listen to me. And I can't remember the other one. There's another one. I can't remember if I wrote it down. It's like one of those ones. Oh, yeah. A female Civil War soldier. Did you see the picture?
Yes. Yeah.
In a historical time where people do not respect women. She was like a general or something where I was like, I think we would all heard about that, right?
Maybe she like really put a lot of mud on her face and was like, oh, me, I'm just a regular guy like you guys.
Yeah, she just got a beard of bees.
Maybe so. She had to do something because if I saw Charlize Theron at any time of my life wearing any clothes, I'd be like, wow, not only is that a beautiful woman, but that's like a really tall, beautiful. Maybe that's how she got away with it, just because she was like fucking 6'3", just a huge, like a really tall woman, and they were just like, well, I mean, women can't be tall, so she that must be a man. Get on in here. You can be Robert E. Lee Jr.
That feller gives me a boner. He should lead us. Give her a musket, I guess.
Yeah, give this person a musket.
Yeah, everybody should get a musket because the only thing that stops bad guys with muskets is 6'3" beautiful women.
Yes.
Period.
With muskets.
Sure, why not?
Okay, here's my low mains. I got a few. I mean, I've got a lot of other stuff to talk about, but my main low main is I feel like this script has something that I think of as Wachowski syndrome, in that it does this thing. I wrote down one of them where they say, it's not what you forget. This is something Charlize says. It's not what you forget. It's what stays with you. It's like that sort of thing where like every line is supposed to be profound, but they're always turned a little bit. And and I am one of the great Wachowski defenders. I love most of their movies and dislike only a few. But even in Speed Racer, which is one of my very favorite movies, they do this thing where it's like, it's not whether you can drive, it's whether you're driven. And it's just like, come on. Come on. You don't have to do something that obvious. Sometimes in the Wachowski movies, they do it like twice in the same sentence. And they do that same thing in this, where it's like, there's like, okay, it's not it's not about how you play the game. It's about how you don't get played. You know, don't get played. It's just that like we just turned the thing around, and is that profound? I don't know. Are we making something that it has meaning? Maybe this is extremely meaningful.
It's like everything either has to be a bumper sticker slogan, or something that somebody goes, well, my daddy used to tell me sometimes when we sit on the porch together.
Yeah.
It's not how you drive, it's how you get driven.
Yes. Also, I think it is weird in this one just because I don't know. I feel like if I was really, really old, I just wouldn't care that much about trying to be profound, especially with my friends who I'd known for hundreds of years. Like, I have almost never in my entire life said anything profound, but especially not near my friends, to whom I speak to in a totally different way that is mostly dumbed down. Like, I speak mostly like an idiot around my friends because we are all dumb together and we say dumb things. But like she and other people in this movie are talking about very rich, profound things. And I don't believe anyone speaks like that.
I feel like we need to get you a profound saying now.
Ooh, maybe I'll have one. I'll think about it.
How about this? For starters.
Okay.
It's not about being a pro.
Yeah.
It's about being found.
Wow.
Yeah.
I like it.
It's not about being profound. It's being found by a pro.
Yes.
Okay. You think that's going to work? You think?
I like it.
Oh, dude, that's a shirt. That's merch.
It's It's not about baseball. It's about balling bases.
Doing this shit is incredible.
Here's another low main. Uh-oh. We can hear you, John. John is on the line talking, but
we got caller number 4. John is on the line.
Okay. Another thing I don't like about it, it feels like a pilot, which is it's so clearly meant to be set up for a sequel, and with rare exceptions, the first movie in a series where they set up a bunch of shit is just not as exciting as the second movie, where you already know the character and a bunch of shit gets to happen. Like even Spider-Man 1, the Sam Raimi Spider-Man, which I love, is just not nearly as good as Spider-Man 2 because he gets to be Spider-Man the whole fucking time. And this one is like, okay, well, they're old, and then well, now Andy can die, so we need to know that. That's important. And that means that not really in this movie, because she only fights for like 10 minutes when she's able to be killed. But in the next movie, it's going to be really scary because she can die. Yeah, so it felt like, I mean, I guess maybe this is just a Netflix movie, so they're thinking, well, we're gonna be able to make a bunch of money off of this. Yeah. So let's make even more money off of it. It's the same way they did it with Extraction. I don't know if you saw that one, but
I was on here for that.
Oh yeah, you were.
I did not like it.
Yeah, it's fine. But they do the same thing where it's like, well, we're just gonna make another movie. We have to make another movie. Okay, a few things. Go ahead.
I think it's just because it's a comic book movie too. So Greg Rucka, Greg Rucka wrote this, and for a comic book, I mean, I've flipped through it a few times. It moves really well.
Okay.
This from what I've read, is extremely close to the Greg Rucka book, and so that means there's a lot of shit you can do in the comic book world that just doesn't always translate over to movie world because you can go slow fast real easy in comic books. You can zip out of like realities. You can go into dream sequences and stuff like that, and it doesn't really hurt the comic book. Mm-hmm. But in movies, you kind of have to sometimes, especially in a dumb action movie like this, you got to take people by the fucking nose and let them know. So that's the reason why I wish there was more montages of shit that happened in the past, so we could see what kind of badasses they are. Because who wants to wait till the second movie to see that shit? Get that shit out of the way in the first. Kind of go back and forth between the present day and the past, which they did very little of. Yeah. But I'm just saying, this movie reminded me of the Highlander in the worst way. Like, they could have taken the format of the original Highlander, just crammed this movie into it, and probably had a much more fun movie, kept the same fucking fight choreographs and stuff like that. Because there's even one part whenever she's kind of using her gun like a sword. Like she'll press it into people's chest and like twist and shit. It had some great parts, but for the majority of it, it was just kind of, okay, this is happening. Where you just kind of get slogs. Where you're like, yeah, I know she's coming back to save him. Okay, there was like never any. Everything was very predictable. Yeah, I also don't need to. I guess one of the many reasons that it pales in comparison to Highlander and also John Wick and all of the other things that it's trying to be, is I don't want to care about this many characters. It's like they're trying to make me care about the other dudes. I mean, the Joe and Nikki, the gay couple, are cool, and I think maybe they're one of my favorite parts about them because their lives seem to have meaning, whereas like. And this is like sort of part of the deal is that like Andy and Booker, like the other bad dude who's like kids died or so, I don't remember, something like that. I've already forgotten most of this movie. They don't have anyone. So there's something nice about the gay couple because they're when like Joe gets hurt, Nikki gets pissed off and vice versa. And there's like something fun about that where like they have stakes, even though they can't die, which is one of the problems with this movie is that it's just not that interesting if people cannot die. I mean, they remedy that halfway through when Andy can die. But until then, it's like, well, okay, if once I know that they can't die, it's kind of cool that they kill people, but it's also like, well,
it's not that interesting to watch someone who's invulnerable. And it's also not to a level like, there's something interesting to me about Superman because he is a god. He is nearly all powerful, but he decides to help people, which is stupid. No real god would do that. But Superman's like, I want to help people. But people who are somewhere in the middle and they're getting shot at, it's like, well, I'm not worried about them because they will be in slight pain for 3 minutes and then they will be fine. I don't really care that much.
I'd almost care more if they were bad guys. Because then I would just be like, what bad stuff are they going to do? How are you going to turn them? Because at first, that's what I thought it was going to be. I was like, okay, I'm following. And then they were like, no, we're trying to do good. I'm like, okay. If they were almost like in Point Break, if they were like the dead presidents or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, that would have been fucking awesome. And then they kind of learn their way towards the end. And then I'm excited for a sequel to see what they do once they're good guys. But instead, I'm just kind of like, I may kill another 2 hours with a sequel, but I doubt it.
Yeah. I also wondered, they talk early on, they're showing like footage of Syria and other places where obviously horrible things are happening. People are starving. And at some point, Andy, who is Charlize Theron's character, says, some good does nothing. Where they're like, what we're doing isn't helpful. But we find out later that it is from Copley, Chiwetel Ejiofor's character. I think I got pretty close to that. We find out that
that's the real bravery in this podcast.
Just trying it.
You attempted to do good.
I did. I'm always trying to do good, but I don't know. When I heard that, I pictured like an alternate movie that did not happen, where they were just like going around killing evil people. Like they were just complete badass killing evil people. Like they're going to like fucking Saudi Arabia and killing billionaires, and they're going to America and killing all the like they're killing every person who sucks. And we just see like fucking Bill Gates, he's typing on his computer and they like sneak up behind him and blast him in the head. Just like anybody who is evil, they're just killing them. And
I just walk up behind Bill Gates with his own vaccine. Take these computer chips. You find out they're all just QAnon guys.
Not exactly, but I mean, I do want I was picturing a movie where they killed people who were evil. And in this movie, they are killing. Okay, they kill 1 or 2 people who are definitely evil, and they kill a bunch of people who are mercenaries, and they are bad, certainly.
Yeah.
But it doesn't feel fun that they are getting killed.
Yeah, because they're all just wearing masks. It might as well. It's kind of like the foot soldiers in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. They're just like, you're just like, okay, well, they beat up 50 of those. So when Shredder come out? And then Shredder's just like an English guy with a weird tooth.
Yes. Played by Harry Melling. He plays Merrick. He is, I checked, he is not in elf makeup. That is just what his head looks like. That's what his ears look like. That is what his hair looks like. He just looks like an elf. And he speaks in a British accent, which is how elves speak. So, I mean, it makes sense. What else?
Any British listeners?
I bet we have a few. If you're in England, the UK, even Ireland or Wales or Scotland, just tweet at us or something, and I will apologize for saying that you are elf people. If you do not, I will keep saying it.
I'll keep backing up Sean to be like, if I see another one of you elfish British fucks on my lawn,
what are you gonna do?
I probably just
wave.
I don't know. You probably give them your stuff. I'll probably be like, it's Sean Parrott. Sean Parrott said these things.
Go to his house. Get him.
Yeah, or at least his social medias.
Yes, kill his social media with a round axe.
Ooh.
Do you think that she went to a special smith, a blacksmith, back in BC? I don't know. When did she get this axe? How old is this axe?
Apparently, it was pre-Crusades because the gay couple met fighting each other in the Crusades, and they killed each other so many times that they fell in love.
Yeah, it's a very weird romantic way to meet someone, but kind of nice. I kind of liked all of their stuff. I did wonder, and I don't even know if I'm allowed to ask this question. I think it's cool to have representation, but counterpoint, it's weird when it's like, okay, look, even a gay couple can be murderers. It's like, well, I don't know. That's cool. I'm glad that they're in this movie. And they, as I said, they're probably my favorite part, but it's weird when that is the version of representation where it's like, look, they can murder too. Anybody can murder. Isn't this great?
See, I'm for equality. Equality doesn't jump out and surprise me like it does you, Sean.
Oh, yes, that's true.
Yeah, ever since Eileen Wuornos,
yes,
which is also played by Charlize Theron, Furiosa,
yes.
all these ladies were kind of gay and murdered.
Yeah.
So there you go. To me, it's just an old hat.
You're right. I take it back. Another problem, if we're still talking about bad things about this movie, we might as well. At some point, they have Charlize as Andy driving a truck, and just don't make me think about Mad Max Fury Road in your action movie. Yeah. And she's in the desert. She looks like a badass. She's even got the short hair. It's like, well, I don't want to have to think about one of the best action movies of the last 20 years while I'm watching a perfectly mediocre action movie.
Dude, let's go through some of the things that they tried. Like, this director was all over the place. Maybe it was the editor, who knows? But there was some serious Zero Dark 30 vibes.
Yes,
so
definitely.
They tried to Zero Dark 30 into it, and they tried to Hurt Locker it a minute.
Yes.
Then they tried to Highlander it, which
they
definitely failed on Highlander. But there was Immortals. There was some T2 elements in there because Andy or Charlize Theron addressed it, thank you, a lot like Linda Hamilton in T2. Yes, she was always wearing a tank top and like whatever it was, cargo shorts or something, cargo pants.
Badass.
Then they put us in the desert, which gave you some serious Fury Road vibes.
Yes.
What's another one? I'm sure I have one written down. Nope. That's about as far as I got.
I got mild Raiders of the Lost Ark vibes when they were in a plane. Though I guess maybe that's Temple of Doom vibes.
Yeah. No, that's Lost Ark. That's whenever he kills the big German outside the plane. Remember? And then they get in it.
I think they're in a plane probably in all of them.
Possibly.
They get there. Man, that Spielberg is such a hack. He's always putting people in planes. Maybe that's my fault for saying that a plane means that it is Raiders of the Lost Ark. Maybe that is not hacked because you can just put a plane in a movie. But
we'll see.
Maybe it's the movie's fault for not being interesting enough that I wasn't thinking of other movies. Maybe that's not my fault. If I was watching a really great movie about immortals, I would probably never think about Highlander.
Yeah. Whenever I watch Highlander, I rarely think about Highlander 2 or any other Highlander.
No.
I just think of Highlander. This movie, as soon as I saw Immortals, I went, well, this is going to be Highlander-y, right? And there's swords.
Yeah.
What a
You have seen Highlander 2, right?
Yes.
You watched it for Letters of Camp Blood, right?
I've watched it a few times, yeah.
It is, I will say, I watched it recently, not very good.
Yeah, real bad.
But there is something interesting about it. Michael Ironside, of course, is something interesting about it.
Sure. Yeah.
It's also incredibly weird, which I liked. When you watch that movie, you're barely thinking of the original Highlander because it bears so little resemblance to the first Highlander.
Zero.
It's so strange. Wait, what else was I going to say? Oh, fuck.
Highlander 2.
Yes, Highlander 2. I don't remember what else I was going to say. That's all I have to say about Highlander 2. Wait, is it? There's no queen, except the one moment. Oh, yeah, there is that reference in Highlander 2. Yes, For some reason, that's even weirder. Because when they do that, okay, there's a moment. Why are we talking about Highlander 2? Because we have to.
It's almost on par with this movie. And I didn't even hate this movie, but
no,
it's mediocre at best.
Yes. Though, people seem to love it. If you're listening and you love this fucking movie, I want to say I'm sorry we've talked so much shit about it. And as always, I would never try to take away from your love of this movie. And I know that is an unpopular opinion, but if you started talking shit about Speed Racer, I'd be fine with that. There are plenty of things that you could say about Speed Racer. And you know what? I'd start watching it and I'd be like, I love this. I feel so good. I'm so glad to watch this movie about this guy who drives a special car. Okay, so Highlander 2. We've got to talk about this. This is important.
Please. Yeah, we can turn this into a Highlander 2 podcast if you want to.
Yes, let's talk about only Highlander 2. We're going to cut everything we've talked about before this. So the Highlander, wait, which McLeod is this? This is Connor McLeod.
Connor McLeod. Duncan is the TV show.
Connor goes into this weird film noir bar and he plays some Queen song. It's from
the soundtrack. It was in the original Highlander. Yeah. I can't remember if it's Who Wants to Live Forever or something like that.
I think it's one of the up-tempo ones. But he plays it, and when it happened, as I was watching Highlander 2, I thought, wait, does this Highlander 2 movie live in a universe where they could watch Highlander 1? That's what it made me feel like. It was somehow like there was a whole just separate universe where they had watched Highlander 1 and somehow they could make a reference to it. Because otherwise, how could the Queen song be inside of Highlander 2 when it's on the soundtrack of Highlander 1? One of the great insane things to put in a movie. Is that too confusing, Josh?
That's not too confusing at all. You just made the gears and that hamster that lives inside my head that makes my thoughts happen. Just start squeak, 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 squeak.
Okay, I have one more thing. Wait. Yeah, I think this is one more thing. First edition books. This is in so many fucking movies. It's in so many movies, and I don't know why they do it. Oh, is there a first edition book in Highlander 2?
I think so. I think he mentions. No, it might be just his diary from all the hijinks he's got into in the past bazillion years.
This is the first edition of my diary. So he's got a first edition of Don Quixote, and I don't understand why people keep putting it in movies. Now, I guess the main idea maybe is these people are wealthy / they are erudite. These are thinking people. They love to read but at the same time, if you get a first edition of Don Quixote, which I don't even believe exists because I think they were serialized. So I don't think there is a first edition of it, but maybe there was. You would never, ever read it.
Yeah.
You would never touch it because it's like hundreds of years old.
Dude,
I had put it in plastic.
I had issue 3 of The Walking Dead. Yeah. And I opened it one time and I was like, I fucked this up. And I put it back in the bag. Yes. And later sold it for hundreds of dollars.
Yes, exactly.
So imagine a book from the fucking 1700s or something.
Probably.
Whatever is either falling apart.
Yeah.
The ink is all fucked up. So why do you just put that on your shelf and just go, and somebody comes over and goes, is that a first edition? And you go, yeah. And they go, can I look at it? And you go, if you even breathe near it anymore, I'm going to use my Highlander sword skills to cut off your goddamn neck.
You're not even supposed to be in this room. How did you get in this room?
Yeah.
This is where my first editions are. I'm allowed to be in here. I have my N95 mask to protect the books from my spit and my breath.
Of course.
Which could, and I have the humidifiers and the dehumidifiers, and they're working at the same time. I'm wasting a lot of energy. They're fighting against each other, but they have to keep this room just perfect temperature, perfect humidity, so that all of these first editions, which are essentially useless to me, they're just things I can look at the spine of it, but I cannot look inside of it. Oh, God, I hate it. The more I talk about it, I was just bringing it up as a thing to be annoyed by, but now I'm really pissed off about first editions in general. Let's burn these books. No, take it back. I take it back. Let's burn all books. No, let's not burn books.
With words, you burn it.
What were you going to say?
Could we set up like a secret CIA type organization where we just find where first edition books are being sold, and then we go bust those villains, because it's 9 times out of 10 it's a villain, right?
Oh yeah.
Rarely is it a hero that ever gets a first edition book and goes, ooh, because heroes, they just think about what they're doing in the moment. They don't worry about collecting or any of that shit. Like hardly ever does a hero collect anything.
Yes.
Because they're not living in the past, and they're also not trying to make big plans for the future. Because every time a hero makes big plans for the future, his daughter or a loved one gets murdered. Then they go and have to live in the moment of murder.
Also, it may have been a tip. You may have cracked the case because Charlize, Andy gave the book to Booker, right? No. Wait, it was the other way around. Booker gave the book to, his name is Booker, and he gave her a book. Fuck. Booker gave the book to Andy, which means he was the villain all along. Oh wait, Lord. I forgot to talk about that. We have to talk about that.
Oh, you're talking about Mr. Orange? Mr. Orange from Reservoir Dogs all of a sudden
is the bad guy?
No, but he's that character.
He's essentially that character, yeah.
Yeah.
So Booker, played by Matthias Schoenaerts, he turns on everybody, and then they give him like a slap on the wrist.
100 years slap on the wrist.
It's 100 years, but I think this is the problem I have with it. Okay, if someone turned on me and I could not be killed, I guess maybe it wouldn't matter that much. But I would still never trust them again, right? Wouldn't you never trust someone ever again?
No, I mean, especially if you don't have any kind of line of communication with them for 100 years.
Yes.
And you go back and be like, have you learned your lesson and not just stewed and got more and more angry at me for 100 years because of your solitude of not being able to actually tell people who you really are?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would go home and literally grind an axe. I would have so many circular axes grounded that I would just be chopping straight. They come back and be like, hey, buddy, and, bring me a pizza or something like that. Just fucking, I'll slice that pizza with my circular axe.
I also wish, I've been talking about too many alternate histories of this movie. I wish someone had gotten
it better, to be honest.
Yeah. He should be beheaded. Someone should be beheaded. And then either they grow a new head or they put the head back on and then it seals up. That's
Return
just
to
make that
Living
movie,
style.
please. Yes, I would absolutely watch that. Do you have other things that you want to talk shit about this movie? Or even, do you have even one more positive thing you want to say about this movie?
Oh, yeah. Charlize Theron breaks a dude's neck with a hip drag takedown, made popular in old school wrestling.
Yes.
I thought that was pretty cool. And also, this felt like a movie that should have came out in a theater.
Yes.
To me, it did. It felt like that the whole time, where I was like, oh, this is what COVID gives us. It gives us this on a smaller screen with less sound and more affordable popcorn, things like that.
I had that same thought. Like this, I am not loving this movie now, but if I saw this with some of my friends and like people are getting shot and there's pink mist, I'd probably be like, yeah, cool.
Yeah,
I think I would elbow people if I watched this movie with friends.
Yeah, it'd be a fun little bro date where you just go there with your buddies and then you laugh at the absurd parts and you go, ooh, with like, hip drag takeover neck, pile driving neck breaks and all that stuff. But yeah, on like my 32-inch screen here, it's Yeah. I mean, it wasn't bad, but it definitely wasn't good. And also, I was thinking, because there's so many volumes of this book.
Yeah.
Like there's like, I think upwards of 10, maybe.
Shit.
I can't remember. So while I was watching, I was like, are they going to try to cram all this shit into one movie? And it started getting towards the end. I went, nope. I was like, they're going to try to make 50 fucking movies off this.
Probably.
Yeah.
They'll make one a year for the next 15 years and then they'll be done.
It'll be like The Hobbit, except I kind of cared about some of those characters. Even though I didn't like the movies, I still kind of liked the characters.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Wow, you're going to get us in big trouble with that comment.
Why? Are there people, Hobbit heads out there?
I don't know. There must be someone who likes The Hobbit.
We got Shire Squires. We got
yes.
I can't think of nothing else.
I can't. There's no other rhymes. There's no other possible rhymes. Frodo. Nope. I'm not even.
Frodo Dodos.
Frodo Dodos. People who love Frodo. Before I tell you to tell us all of your special internet things, I want to say that next week we are talking with Seth Pomeroy, friend of the show. We are watching Host, the new movie that everybody's talking about that's on Shudder. If you don't have Shudder, you can get a free trial with the code SHUTIN. I think it's all caps. I'm not sure if it matters. But if you type in SHUTIN, they're going to give you 30 days and you can watch Host and have a great time. Mm-hmm. Josh, would you tell us all of your very best social medias, please?
Well, let's start with me. At the Josh from TN on all social medias. Follow me. I might follow you back. I can't remember. Sometimes I get spammed by a lot of Russian bots. They're obviously Russian. The Russians are taking us over. They caused that mess in Beirut. So also you can follow my podcast. I don't mean to get too QAnon about this or nothing.
Yeah.
Which I don't even really know what that is. Now that I've said it several times. Is it just the conspiracy theory people that vote for Donald Trump? Is that what QAnon is?
Oh, QAnon it's like all conspiracies bond into one.
Yeah, I've heard about
the Earth is flat, but it's also hollow somehow. Yeah, it's fucking weird.
I mean, have you ever saw a piece of paper with a center? Of course not. It's hollow.
Good point.
So, let's go around this way. You can also follow, if you want to hear some more spicy details about flat Earth 2, go to Letters from Camp Blood. You can look it up at Letters from Camp Blood Pod or Camp Blood Pod. We changed it because we had some old school stuff, and then we got back together once again, and now it's all messed up. But Blood Camper on Twitter, and there's not anybody else with Letters from Camp Blood in their name. So you can just Google that. You'll find us.
Yeah, just Google it.
Yeah, that's all you gotta do.
And while you're in your Google and your Twitter and all of that, follow us, Food Court Movie Podcast. We are Food Court Cast on Twitter. We're a Food Court Movie Podcast on Instagram. I think it's just Food Court Movie Podcast on Facebook. Those are all of the things we're on. And since you're already probably in an app right now listening or maybe watching us, would you type a wonderful review and give us 5 stars? I don't know if Twitch has 5 stars, but give us 1,000 stars, whatever the biggest amount of stars is possible. Give us 100 stars. Give us 1,000,000 stars. And we will be so happy to have 1 billion stars. Josh, I want to thank you so much for being on the show and talking to us about the Old Guard.
Thank you for having me. This has been great.
Thank you. It was my pleasure. And on behalf of you and on behalf of Rob, who we hope will be healthy and wealthy and wise, may I say, bon appetit.
Bon appetit. Bon appetit.